Well, welcome, Pre-Algebra 2 students, and I am glad that we are finally getting into our class for the year. I'm excited to be able to teach you these Pre-Algebra 2 concepts, and so we're going to start with Chapter 0. Chapter 0 is just an introductory chapter. It has 3 different sections, and each section has an assignment with it, and it's all basics, just things you've been doing for years in math, just to kind of review, refresh, give you the opportunity to do some of this work. Watch a video, answer the questions during the video. You'll get a participation grade for that. And then after the lesson, there'll be an assignment for you to do. And if you could upload that and answer the questions or put it on a piece of notebook paper, you can scan or take a picture of it and then submit it through Canvas, and you'll get some more points for an assignment. As I said, there's 3 sections and they're fairly easy mathematical concepts, but it's a good way to start the year and build up on Pre-Algebra 2 as we get to the more difficult concepts in just a few weeks. And so our first lesson here is 0.1. The goal is I will be able to perform operations with positive and negative numbers. Now, there's 4 operations, of course, and the 4 operations are we're going to be adding, we're going to be subtracting numbers, we're going to be multiplying, and we are going to be dividing. So we're just going to take basic numbers, add, subtract, multiply, divide. You've been doing this, again, forever. So it's going to be a fun and an easy lesson for the day. So let's begin with adding. When I add, if I add 2 positive numbers, positive 3 plus positive 8 is positive 11. Easy. You've been doing that forever. So that'll be no problem at all. Subtracting negative 3 plus negative 2, here's how I think about it. Negative 3 means I have 3 negatives. Negative 2 means I have 2 negatives. How many negatives altogether? Negative 5. So negative 3 plus 2 more negatives is equal to 5 negatives altogether. So these 2 are easy concepts. Positives with positives make more positives. I have 3 positives, 8 positives, I have 11 altogether. Negatives and negatives are easy. 3 negatives plus 2 more negatives is negative 5. The place that some people get mixed up is when there's a positive and a negative. Like this example. You have positive 5 plus negative 8. Now look at this. Positive 5 means 5 positives. So here are my 5 positives. Negative 8 means 8 negatives. Now I know that a positive and a negative cancel each other out. So this cancels each other out, this cancels each other, this cancels, and all of those cancel out. So the positive and the negatives are gone. What am I left over with? I'm left over 3 negatives. So if I have 5 positives and 8 negatives, my result is negative 3. There's 3 more negatives. So here's another question I'm going to ask myself. What do I have more of? Do I have more positives or more negatives? The answer is I have more negatives. 8 is bigger than 5, so I have more negatives. My final answer is negative. How many more negatives do I have? Well, these 5 cancel out 5 of those. 8 minus 5 is 3. So I have 3 more negatives in this problem. Now I'd like you to do a question. What would this be? Negative 10 plus positive 19. I have 10 negatives, I have 19 positives. I have more positives than negatives. So my final answer is going to be positive. How many more positives do I have? 19 take away 10. There's 9 extra positives. So my final answer is positive 9. And so that's how we add positives and negative numbers. Let's talk subtracting. When I subtract, if I were to do 8 minus 3, I have 8 things, and I take away 3 things, I have only 5 left. Again, you've been doing that forever. This is 8 things minus 3 positive things. Here I have 8 stars, or 8 plus signs. If I take away 3 of them, I have 5 left. So that's easy. But what if, let's do some negatives. If I have negative 8 minus negative 5. Now, anytime I have a subtraction, I add the opposite. So the rule is to add the opposite. So I'm going to add the opposite of that number. Now I'm back to my adding problem that I just did. What do I have more of? Positives or negatives? I have more negatives, so I have 8 negatives, 5 positives. My final answer is negative. How many more negatives do I have? Well, I take away the 5 positives, I have 3 left. Negative 3 is the answer. So for subtracting, I'm always going to add the opposite. Here I could have added the opposite. Well, let's do a problem where you subtract with a plus and a negative. Let's say that I have negative 10 minus positive 14. When I subtract, I add the opposite. So I'm going to now make that a negative. I have negative 10 plus negative 14 more makes negative 24. I have 10 negatives. I have 14 negatives. I have negative 24 altogether. So you always add the opposite. Now let's talk about multiplying. When you multiply, the rule for multiplying is 2 positives equal a positive, 2 negatives equal a negative. This is easy. If I have positive 4 times positive 6, it's positive 24. If I have negative 4 times negative 6, it's negative 24. I'm sorry, it's positive 24. 2 negatives. Sorry about that, everybody. I knew that that's positive. So 2 positives make a positive. When you multiply 2 negatives, you also get a positive. So ignore that first part of the video. 2 positives make a positive, 2 negatives make a positive. When I'm multiplying, to get a negative answer, I have to have 1 positive times 1 negative. That's where I get a negative number. So here are some examples. Positive 5 times negative 3 makes a negative 15. I have different signs, gives me a negative answer. Same signs, give me a positive answer. So let's do negative 1 times positive 18 will give me a negative 18. Again, same signs. If the signs are the same, I get a positive answer. If the signs are different, 1 positive, 1 negative, you get a negative answer. And then finally, dividing is the same way. Let's talk dividing. Dividing is the same way. If you have a positive divided by a positive, you get a positive answer. A negative divided by a negative, you get a positive answer. It's when the signs are different that you get a negative answer. So again, some easy examples. Positive 18 divided by positive 6. I have both positives, so my final answer is positive. 6 goes into 18 3 times. 18 divided by 6. If I were to do negative 25 divided by negative 5, I get a positive 5. How many 5s in 25? 5. I could have written this negative 25 divided by negative 5. 2 negatives make a positive. 25 divided by 5 is 5. 5 times 5 makes 25. Again, I'll give you one quick example of a positive and a negative. Positive 10 divided by negative 2. A positive and a negative makes a negative. How many 2's in 10? Positive 10 divided by negative 2. It's negative. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So that is the 4 basic operations with positive and negative numbers. So now what I'd like you to do is find this worksheet there on your Canvas in the module for this day, and then complete the answers. You can go ahead and check them. The answer key is in the file uploads as well. You can check your answers and then submit your work. Please do your work on it and take a picture or scan it and upload it into our Canvas. Thank you very much.